Ant set the tone from the jump in Game 3. He had 16 points in the first quarter, outscoring the Thunder as a team. He set the standard for the rest of the Timberwolves for the rest of the game. But before we move forward, let's just reset where this series is heading in to this Game 4. The Thunder, they hold a 2-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals after winning the first 2 games by 41 combined points. The third quarter was a key in both wins. Oklahoma City outscored Minnesota by 28 points. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander carried the offense for the Thunder, averaging nearly 35 points in games 1 and 2. But the Timberwolves, they adjusted in Game 3, holding SGA to 14 points, his lowest scoring total in any game this season. On the other side, Anthony Edwards, he scored at least 30 in his last 2 games. Game 3, it was efficient. He joined Kevin Garnett as the only Timberwolves players with 30 points on 70% shooting in a playoff game in franchise history. But I think we can all agree that OKC is going to come out with a different type of flavor in this game. We're going to see their best shot after what we saw in this Game 3, Perk. So how can the Wolves weather this storm?
Well, they got to be starving. They got to come out with the same mindset. They can't come out happy and think that, you know, OKC is not going to come out and throw an overhead right. They're going to bust them in the jaw. How is Minnesota going to respond? Are they happy with Game 3 and think they can ease into this game? Because if they do, they're going to get smoked. So I'm looking at Anthony Edwards, I'm looking at Julius Randle, and I'm looking at Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley, the leaders of this team, to set the tone.
I'm very, very proud of you. Not a single cuss word in that soliloquy.
Okay,
way to go. So let's get that out the way. Let's get that out of the way. That's number one. Number 2, let's stop it. Number 2, let's say this. Going into Game 3, the Minnesota Timberwolves was worried about getting swept and getting sent home on their home court. Now they're worried about getting sent home the minute they get back to Oklahoma City Wednesday night. You got to win this game. You got to even this series. And if Ant-Man was the spark plug, one of the reasons why he had to step up was not just because the Minnesota Timberwolves needed him in order to win. We were looking at Ant-Man and saying, Shai Gilgeous 31 in Game 1, 38 in Game 2. Busting y'all living, you know what you gonna do about it? And we didn't see much of a response from him until Game 3. So he had to answer the call as an individual with that personal pride that sat up there and said, yo, I am a bona fide superstar in this league.
Right.
Let me show you why I am that dude. And that's what he did in Game 3, and that's what he's going to have to do tonight.
And for them to win the series, he's going to have to keep doing it.
Right.
He can't just do it one game. He can't just do it two. If you're talking about going to the finals, it's going to take 4 of those. He's done 1. He didn't do it in Oklahoma City. Anthony Edwards scored a lot of points in Game 2, but he took a lot of shots.
Right.
26 shots. That's 70% efficiency that you talked about. That's how they got that win in Game 3. And if you're looking at these teams, neither of these teams have been to the finals, okay? You know you took a team that hadn't been there. In the back of their minds, they're all wondering, can we get there? Can we do this? It's an emotional series. I think that's why we've seen these wild swings of scores.
Interesting.
Neither of these teams have walked in the path of going to the finals or winning a championship. There's an emotional thing to this, and that's what's fascinating about this series. It's going to settle, and I think it settles tonight. It's going to be a close game.
Well, also for Anthony Edwards, it's not just the points that he scored. You challenged him defensively. You wanted to see him guard their best player. He took that challenge and applied it across the board here. Coach, how did he do that?
Well, he knew what time it was. They're down 0-2. They can't go down 0-3. And he set the tone early, and his teammates, they got confidence off of his performance, outscoring the Thunder by himself in the first quarter. And here's 4 examples that kind of show why and how he took the game over early. Catch and shoot, they set great screens to get him open. All he needs is a little bit of separation. What I loved about this clip, this is a 50-50 ball. Who wants it? Anthony Edwards outworks everybody on the Thunder, gets them out in transition for an easy 2. Needs more of that. High pick and roll. Hartenstein's down the floor. One of the best pull-up three-point shooters in the game. And my favorite clip on this edit, defensively, attacking the ball. It's not just about scoring. Can you impose your will on both ends? Anthony Edwards did that. He's going to have to be even better tonight to have a chance to go back to OKC tied up 2-2.
One of the things that I loved about that highlight, Coach, that you just pointed to, that highlight when Anthony Edwards had that steal early in the game, that was on Lou Dort, who has been physical with him, up in his grill, basically trying to play bully ball because we all know he's a linebacker playing basketball. That's who Lou Dort is. That's a big boy, okay? And you get physical with Ant-Man, you got to answer that call in every way. And I thought that he took the ball by the horn, and that's exactly what he did in Game 3.
So how can you replicate that starving mentality that Anthony Edwards clearly had, knowing that your back is against the wall?
Well, you know you played. When your best player plays that kind of defense, everybody else is looking around and going,
it's contagious.
We better do that too.
Contagious.
And sometimes the best player doesn't do that. But when he does, it elevates, like you said, it's contagious and it levels everybody up defensively.
Well, I'm telling you, offensively, tonight, he's going to need the others more than ever. Because the Thunder, they're going to throw all the bodies at Anthony Edwards defensively. When I say all, he's probably going to see 5 people. And that's what the Oklahoma City Thunder should do. That's a prideful group, a bunch of dogs, resilient. They're going to come out there and they're going to put their primary focus on stopping the head of the
Throughout the postseason, they shot about 32% on pull-up jumpers, Minnesota. This last game, they shot better than 50%. They put the ball on the floor, was willing to attack. Can they do that tonight? We'll see.
And that's going to be...
And they made shots and they missed shots. But the other two are first. And then on top of this, they had a great night, we had a bad night. So it's like 40. But if we like take care of these, we can still lose because of this night. But it doesn't look like this, you know?
I love that, Bob. On the bench, that's what he's saying to his teammates.
I love the first thing he said. Basketball's a humbling thing.
Yep.
He sounds like a, by the way, we know how he plays. We don't get to see a lot of that, especially, this is a star, the MVP, breaking down in the middle of a really bad loss, talking to a younger player. That's tremendous.
It really is. I love getting that behind-the-scenes look. Fans are getting ready. Teams are going to run out and take the floor for Game 4 right after this.
Very touchable, damn it. I mean, listen, last game, I thought they were on the verge against swept. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see the crowd being as noisy as they ended up being. They shocked the living hell out of me. It was like they waited until tip-off time, and then all of a sudden, they want to sit down in a roar. I was like, okay, all right, y'all caught me off guard here. Not tonight. I think Ant-Man replicates his performance in Game 3. I think the troops follow suit. I think it's a tighter game, but Minnesota pulls this out.
Why you got to go with the damn it after the Minnesota pick? I'm going with Mr. Rivers, damn it. Doesn't have to be damn it.
Are you?
Minnesota.
Are you going
I'm
with
saying
Minnesota?
OKC.
Okay.
Without the other part. I'm just going OKC. That's who I think is going to win this game. They're upset. You said it. They're upset. And Minnesota feels pretty good. Maybe
all right,
good.
Mr. Hub.
They are upset. They are upset, and they feel like, well, they got punked in game 3 by the Minnesota Timberwolves.
They kind of did.
I'm going with Oklahoma City. They're going to respond. SGA is going to respond. That defense is going to be all over the place, and watch out for the specialist, Alex Caruso. Watch out for him.
What's he going to do?
What he's been doing all series, all playoffs, being a disruptor, the unsung hero. He's going to play a major part in this game tonight. He's going to help the Thunder get this victory.
Coach, if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves in this one, you've heard Anthony Edwards say it. He said it to Lisa Salters in that walk-off interview we played several times over the course of this game. We have to see what the Thunder bring in this next one. We know it's going to be a good, we know that they're going to bring their best. What are you saying to your group as they're about to take the floor right now?
Understand why you win. I learned that many years ago from Jeff Van Gundy. In the NBA, you have to understand why you win and why you lose. They won Game 3 because they took care of the basketball. They got their bench going, and Julius Randle was a grown-ass man in that game. He showed up, he showed out, and he's got to support Anthony Edwards, who we know what he's going to do tonight. Can Julius Randle be the same player he was in Game 3?
It flowed, this cuss word flowed so
Yeah, what are you guys doing?
Which is what you don't do. As long as you're not saying it, because you said you don't need that problem. You don't need that problem.
And the substance wasn't lost.
And
the
the substance was
importance
not
of
lost.
Julius Randle.
Way to go, Way to go. That's what I'm talking about.
As the Oklahoma City Thunder getting set here to take the floor in this all-important Game 4. But what you said was also important, Coach, that Julius Randle needs to be a player that continues what we saw in Game 3.
And when he's efficient offensively, Malika, it does something for him. All of a sudden, you don't see him getting down. He's not making ill-advised plays. He's locked in. But it is predicated on his efficiency offensively. When he's efficient offensively, he takes his total game to another level. When he's not, he doesn't.
One could argue that he's been their best player this postseason.
He's had a phenomenal playoff.
Consistently. He has also been the tower to their cell phone. When he's on, that signal is strong. When that tower is down, their signal is not so good.
They can't afford that tower to be down anymore. Like you said, Stephen A., if he doesn't show up, they're not going to win the game. I just don't see how they win. They lose this game, you go back to Oklahoma City, down 3-1. That's probably the end of the story.
And that's why I'm challenging Chet Holmgren right now. This your hometown. right? You're the X factor for this team. If it's a big three, it's SGA, Jalen Williams, and then it's Chet Holmgren. High expectations.
Have y'all noticed that Perk brought up the cell phone issue? This is the second game in a row.
Yeah,
he brought that up. No wonder we can't find him. No wonder we can't find him. When we're looking for him, we can't ever find him. That's why the tower's down.
You're right. His tower's down all the time. You need a new time. Your tower's down.
When you're looking, though, at the Thunder and their tower needing to be firing on all sides, I'm not as good at this, Perk. I don't have a Perkism for this one. But SGA, it really starts with him and the tone that he needs to set right out the gate here, Coach.
Well, when you played that clip where he was talking to his guys on the bench, he said one thing: we turned it over early. Right? They had 6 turnovers in the first quarter for 11 Minnesota points. That starts with Shea being in attack mode, and they cannot give up 23s tonight and 143 points. Their #1 defense all year has to get back to defending at a high level, and that'll fuel their break.
Well, I may have underestimated this crowd because they're already booing. I forgot that every single time SGA touched the ball in that game 3, they booed him loudly and consistently, even when they got up by double digits and the game was over. They booed SGA.
Where was that coming from? Where was that coming from?
No idea.
Where was that coming from?
I think it's loyalty to their guy, to their city. When Anthony Edwards went to the free throw line, they chanted MVP. They want to show love and respect to their superstar, even knowing what SGA brings to the table.
That's right, and it worked in game 3. It will not work in game 4. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is going to show up.
You're right. Look, he had the worst game of the year, I think. The lowest scoring total.
You could definitely make an argument for that.
He's not going to do that again. He's a competitor. He'll show up. Question is, what else is that guy right there we're looking at? He'll be there. He'll be here tonight. The rest of it, we'll see.